This episode deals with sexual assault and violence, and we are going to put graphic on the screen of resources you can reach out to. I'll tell you who we're with in a second, but a blueberry flew out of my acai bowl this weekend, and it rolled across the restaurant, and the guy screamed and stomped on it like it was a bug. I was like, this man, a fully grown man, screamed like it was a roach. I was like, yo, that's a New Yorker. Welcome to Brief Recess. I'm Michael Foote.
I'm Melissa Malebranche.
Today we're going to talk about the great city of Boston.
I like Boston.
We're going to talk about Melissa's unfiltered thoughts on picky eaters. We're going to talk about her mother and how she's going to teach us how to do it like a lady.
Like a lady.
Wait, no, that sounds wrong.
That sounds very bad.
We're going to talk about the Nolan Wells case, which has incredible traction online right now. And we have a special guest, Alaina Bamfield, who's a stand-up comic and has a new special out. And we're also going to answer all your burning questions from the DMs, so stick around. Not the migrating fillers. I made the video today about
migrating fillers?
Yeah, all the MAGA influencers with migrating fillers that hate immigrants. Mm. How are you going to hate immigrants?
When your face is melting?
Why is your cheek over there? Without a green card. Girl, it's know. And you know it's true. Mm-hmm. These fillers are unregulated. You know what? Let's immediately get into a sidebar about plastic surgery, because what's in the fillers? People are getting dog-walked by their fillers.
The thing about it is that you could be given permission to do fillers after taking like a course. So your dentist, for example, whose expertise should be teeth, is now, this is the side hustle, is the filler.
Yeah.
You know, not to say that can't work, but I think that when it comes to like your face, that's not the time to look for a discount, a bargain. Do you know what I mean?
You're right.
Like you should not go for the cheapest version of the thing.
Anywhere else on the body but the face.
I mean, actually.
Because I'm getting my NAD injections from a lady that I met on the internet, and I've never met her. She just mails it to my house. now that I think about it, I'm like, these supplements are from someone I don't know, but they come from, she orders them. She's like a doctor, but they come from a pharmacy. I think it says pharmacy on it.
I could do that. I could make you I could scrapatize you a label right now.
You know, but it's working. It feels great. I love the NAD injections. They're doing.
What do they do for you?
I'm not really sure.
So, you know how we sort of joke around a lot that, you know, we think that we both have really bad ADHD?
Yeah.
And so,
I think it's from the injections?
No. Oh. Maybe. So I haven't been joking. I definitely think that I do. So this morning I was listening to NPR, and there was a whole segment about how ADHD, usually they had based all the studies on white little boys. Right. And not really looking at a bigger picture of encompassing boys and girls and different races and stuff. And what they're saying now is a lot of women have gone undiagnosed with ADHD. It especially, like all the mechanisms that you have come up with to sort of get you through life, when perimenopause hits, it disintegrates.
It just goes. And Michael? Of course they didn't study. They were like, oh, we only studied little white boys. We're also going to expand it to include middle grade boys who are white.
So boys
between 10 and 12 we're going to study.
So
now
there's a woman who is, she might be a psychiatrist. I don't know. But anyway, she did this whole study. She has a center. Yeah. And I went to the NPR thing. I found it.
Okay, this is proving you don't have ADHD, honestly. The fact that you followed through this, because I would switch the radio station.
No, let me tell you what I had to do, though. While I was listening to it, and it resonated with me so much that I immediately texted it to myself.
Because I do that too.
Because I would have forgotten about it.
If
that's what I had to do.
People are like, let's multi-factor authenticate the emails. I'm like, no. MFA, my texts to myself, reminders. That's where the real tea is. Yeah. That is where everything's actually going down. Mm-hmm. That's where my social security number. I'm texting it all to myself.
You don't know your social?
My license. No, I have I memorized it.
Okay.
Because I memorized it because I wanted to sign up for credit cards at the department store when I was in my 20s. Sure. But
we all did it. We all did it. Children. When I was in college, I don't know if they did this to you all. When I was in college, the credit card companies would come to campus, set up, set up tables and like give away stupid free shit. Like, here's a cup. Here's a cup. Sign up for this kind of credit card.
It was a gateway drug.
Yes, exactly. I cannot. And I mean,
interest rate 80%.
And the thing about it is like people would get excited. It'd be like, I got
a free toaster. I'm doing it.
Michael, it wasn't even a free toaster.
Melissa, no, it was a pen.
It was a cup keychain, or like a pennant.
The lanyard.
Probably.
No.
Yeah.
Oh no. And so what was your first credit card?
It was a Citibank like Visa or something.
Yeah. If you're already in debt with the student loans.
Yeah.
Wow. You went to college in Boston?
No.
Oh. I thought I just assumed there's very few things to do in Boston. So I figured you went there for college. Hey, friends.
So I think, Michael, you should speak directly to camera and speak to the people in Boston.
Yeah. I'm happy to speak to anyone in Boston.
I think what you need to do.
Don't tell me to apologize.
I'm going to say to you as your friend.
Yeah.
Who loves you. I'm going to say to you that you should reiterate that your experiences in Boston have been negative because you associate them with a toxic ex, which is okay.
So I'm going to stop you right there because I don't want to do that.
Well,
and I'm not going to do that.
So you like this. You enjoy this.
Absolutely. Okay. This has been the joy of, this is Christmas morning, opening up the comment section about Boston. They got off the T at 11:59 because it shut down. They went right to JP Licks and Coolidge Corner and then Anna's Taqueria, and they can take all of that and shove it because I'm coming for you, city of Boston. You ain't got nothing on me. You're all stuck in traffic. You don't know how to drive. And the only reason I'm coming to Boston, I found one thing that I would go to Boston for. There are these 4 dogs that are really cute. And allegedly there's a 5th dog. The Westies. Yeah. That is the only thing you got going for you, and you know it. And that's why you're coming for me, because you ain't got nothing else going on, that you got the time to come for me. So keep it. And I'll reiterate, those 4 dogs.
They're very cute.
I would actually go just for them. Mm-hmm. And there's allegedly a 5th one.
I hear that there's
who doesn't like going outside.
Well, he doesn't like, they don't like going out with the other dogs. They prefer personal time. And I got to tell you, Westie, I feel you.
So that Boston, I'll give you the Westies because that is very cute and idiosyncratic for that 5th dog.
Okay.
But
Boston.
Next time you're in line at Dunkin', you can come for me. You can, because next time you're cutting someone off without the blinker with your Massachusetts license plate to peel into the Dunkin', to wait in the drive-through line, you can come for me because I'm not bothered. I'm not pressed. My edges laying flat. My edges are bumped. My edges are fried.
I mean, your edges are non-existent.
Snatched.
Boston, you heard me try. I tried. And again, I will reiterate to you that I have no beef with Boston. I haven't been very many times, but you know what, Boston? Come into my DMs, give me suggestions, and I'll come visit.
Just as long as it's not food, picky eater. Just as long as it's not telling Mélissa how she needs to like picky eaters. How about a picky eater in Boston? Let's get them on the show. Where's that representation? Where's their pride parade? The picky eaters of Boston.
I'm sure there is.
Because they are.
The picky eaters are really upset with me, and
tanking the reviews at the network.
I don't know what to say. I also sort of stand 10 toes down.
You pick 2 stubborn Tauruses to start fights with on the internet. It's not going to go your way.
I think especially because I thought that I was clear.
Yeah.
That, I understand. Oh my God, the shit that I got. Anyway, I understand. You know what? Never mind. I am 10 toes down. I know what I meant. I'm sorry if you don't know what I meant.
There was a miscommunication, you think? I don't think there was.
I mean, I think I thought I was clear when I said I am not talking about somebody who has a diagnosis, right?
Yeah.
People then said to me that people don't owe me a diagnosis. Now, that is
valid,
absolutely true. That is absolutely true. What I was really talking about is when somebody is with me and we are going someplace and they don't eat anything
I don't want to go to the taco
pasta
place,
and chicken nuggets, that makes it difficult for me. I think that you should be free to eat whatever you want, whenever you want. But if you're with other people, have you ever gone on vacation with a picky eater?
Melissa, it's boiling down to you don't like people ordering off the menu.
No, that's not it at all. That's not it at all. That's not it at all. And the other thing I really, really hate is if I am eating something and somebody who doesn't like anything is looking at me and they're like, ew. That makes me so mad.
Oh, that's crazy.
That makes me so mad.
People did that? Someone did that to you?
My husband.
Oh, well, we don't listen to him.
But I mean, but he's not the only one.
We don't listen to any husbands.
He's not the only one. Like, I find it really rude. I find it really super annoying.
That's really rude.
So yeah, it is when it becomes a problem for me is when we go someplace as a group and then there's like the one person who's just like, I don't want to eat this. 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 I don't care what you do. Listen, if we go to the Cheesecake Factory, I'm in. No problem.
Well, the Cheesecake Factory, first of all, they have everything.
I've never had a bad meal at the Cheesecake Factory.
And there's no picky eaters at the Cheesecake Factory because you could get whatever you want there.
Right.
So if you're a picky eater at the Cheesecake Factory, that's a you problem.
No, you're not.
There's no such thing.
I don't think there is.
I don't think there is.
No, I think you can find, and if you are somebody who eats very simply, you can.
Yes. The Cheesecake Factory is what the UN used to be. It's like where you would come to like neutralize like any political situation. Right. Like I honestly think like if we held the UN delegation now at the Cheesecake Factory, like we could probably solve a lot more problems.
Right.
So
I am not going to Belgium with somebody who is going to have me on a Jackass parade looking for chicken nuggets. That's
the Jackass parade.
That's what I mean.
Going to hell in gasoline panties.
Going to hell in gasoline panties.
With a chicken finger in your hand. Let's get into algorithm is showing because I want to ask you.
Me?
If being a picky eater, is it okay to do it if you're doing it like a lady?
It took me a second.
Did it take you a minute?
It took me a second.
Took you a second? Just a minute? Do it like a lady. Do it like a lady.
Friends?
Melissa's mother.
And I see my mom making comments on other people's Instagrams, and it comes as a shock to me.
You know when you open the comments section on an Instagram, people at home, and you can see someone you know commenting on like a New York Times cooking recipe.
Anything.
And sometimes I'll see you comment on it, and it's usually just like people you know, they bump it up to the top so you can engage with your friend who also commented on that CNN news article. So Melissa opens up the comment section sometimes and sees her mother out in the streets.
And sees my mom random.
Magali just going wild.
And you know what's really funny? I remember the comment, but I don't remember what she was commenting about.
Okay, I remember because I saw it because she and I follow each other. It was, there was a woman like freaking out at a pickup at a restaurant. She was like picking up her takeout order and was like upset that they didn't have enough sauce in the bag or something. They forgot something. And this woman was crashing out.
Okay.
Your mother commented. Let's pull it up because it's so good. And you got to do a dramatic reading for us. I have it.
Because my mom the other thing is my mom will accept anyone's friend request.
We're going to block out.
We're going to block out her. We're trying to protect her from herself.
It's not what y'all are going to say to Melissa's mom. It's that she's going to accept everybody's friend request.
My mom accepted someone's friend request randomly. And this person started calling her.
What?
Started calling her through the Instagram.
Oh yes, people do that to me sometimes.
And so my mom was just like, this random man started calling me, and I was like, who is it? She was like, I don't know. I'm like, why are you friends with him? She's like, well, he requested it.
Melissa, why are you fighting with your own mother in the comments on this video? You replied to her.
What did she say? Oh. sorry. So basically what it is that this woman didn't want to pay for her food, right?
Okay,
She didn't want to pay for her food and she was trying to walk out. And then the police came to arrest her. And she was just like, are you going to arrest me for taking food? And the officer was like, yes, you didn't pay for it. You got to take it. And then I don't know what the woman said. And then my mom says, it's probably not her first... It's probably not her first time. I pay for my food. Do like I do, like a lady.
Like a lady. Do like I do, like a lady.
So, oh my God. So now what the other thing.
It has a lot of likes. The comment has like a good number of likes.
But so I responded to my mother and I chimed in my brother and I was just like, take mom's phone away from her. And my cousin responded to me, which I didn't know. And said,
God, really?
You will not. My other cousin responded to her and said, I'll make sure of it.
Oh my God.
So you know what?
The whole Haitian community, the Haitian.
All right, I'm done talking about Magli because she's out of my control.
Yeah.
What's been in your algorithm?
Okay, so I've been completely subsumed by videos about the Nolan Wells case in my feed. I've watched every single one of them that comes up. Mm-hmm. I've made some myself because Nancy Grace entered the chat last week.
She sure did.
Talk about edges.
Yeah.
Bumped with vengeance.
Yes.
Because she is here. Her foot.
Her blue eyeliner. Yeah. She's in it. No. I watched
eyeliner
it.
Is crazy.
But I watched it and she is, I mean, understandably so, right?
Oh my God.
She's livid.
But I'm so glad that she's here because
I'm glad it's someone like her.
And I've been following the case for so long. Mm-hmm. This has been percolating on my feed ever since I think it was they found his body July 6th. So this has been, but it's always been very alternative, ultra liberal, progressive, socialist accounts posting about it. Mm-hmm. It hasn't been mainstream media attention, which is heartbreaking because a young man is dead. He's a freshman in college. A young black man is dead.
It is par for the course.
And it is, exactly.
It really, really is.
And it had all the makings of potentially becoming, oops, we didn't investigate it. We couldn't find anything. And the media moves on, right? It had all the fixings for that to possibly happen. And now it is not going to happen. Not because Nancy Grace, but also because they got a very famous civil rights attorney.
Correct. But I will say the fact that Nancy Grace did enter the chat has not hurt. Not hurt it.
No, Don Lemon was talking about it since the beginning. He was talking about it a lot.
Yeah. But we would expect Don Lemon to talk about it. I mean, usually when something bad happens to a black person, we expect Black reporters and media to pick it up, right?
The Reverend.
When white media picks it up, it gets more attention. And those are just the facts.
That is an objective truth. Yeah. That is like not even up for debate.
No.
It's just how it goes. And so this case has been dominating my feed because there are so many suspicious circumstances around his death. And they're saying that, so it happened on Horn Island, which is a 10-mile sandbar with no infrastructure. It's 10 miles off the coast of Mississippi. Right. And there's this 4th of July party that's there every year. Nolan Wells was an 18-year-old college freshman, and he went there to celebrate the 4th of July with a big group of his friends. Now, the last time he was seen was, according to his friends, they left him on this island with a girl that he was with. And that was around 3 p.m. No one knows who this girl is. Nope. They just said a first name. We left him there. All of the friends are white.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. All the friends are white.
In this particular scenario.
Yeah. And they're like, oh no, we left him there around 3 p.m. No one's seen him since. His body turns up 2 days later in the water.
One of the things that I never understand is you go someplace with a group of friends, you got to leave with the same group of friends. The idea that his friends left him behind on an island with no infrastructure. And so how was he supposed to get back from that?
Right. Even if he was with this girl, did she have a boat? This girl that no one knows who she is and we still can't find her. Nobody's heard from her yet.
So the friends went there with 3 boats.
Right.
7 of them left on 1 boat because that boat was sinking. They made a distress call to the Coast Guard.
To sea tow.
Yeah. One of the boats left, which had most of his close friends on it.
Yes.
And then I guess they were like, we just figured he would get on one of the other 2 boats. But his cell phone was on that boat that left.
Right.
You don't go anywhere without your cell phone.
That's an 18. I won't go anywhere without my cell phone.
Yeah. And the boat that sank, they called Sito to be like, hey, help us. And now the audio of that call is being released. People are like manipulating the audio to hear what's happening in the background. And there are reports today that it sounds like they're yelling Nolan's name, wake up. Is he dead? They're saying all this stuff in the background on the Sito call. So I think, this is my theory, is that he was on that boat and there was an accident, injury, he was hurt and passed out, collapsed and died. That's what I think happened.
And they dumped his body.
Yeah. Because they probably panicked. Yeah. Dumped his body. I don't think this is like a murder situation. That's what I'm reading and what I've seen so far. But I think there was they panicked, tried to cover it up, and now they're all hiding what actually happened on that boat.
Okay.
And the autopsy, inconclusive. So the family is paying for an independent autopsy to be.
Colin Kaepernick paid for the independent autopsy.
That's right.
Yeah.
I did see that. So the state examined the body. The state medical examiner, according to Dr. Mitchell, the soft tissue redness in the back of the head, the occipital region, were not discovered by the state medical examiner. They missed that in the initial report. And the area of the throat and the neck were not provided. They held it back and didn't give it to the independent examiner.
Why?
The independent people, this chief medical examiner, he was like, I'm not saying that's suspicious. What I'm saying is that they probably are held that back because they're doing further analysis on it to see if there's signs of strangulation.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's like, so that's why they were still testing it. That's what he assumes. But he did say that they did not, I guess, do dissections on other part of his skull because he was like, this was like a fresh like hematoma on the back of his head. And it was red, which means that it was like fresh and it wasn't from like water. Because I guess water can cause kind of swelling and redness too.
And his body was in the water for over a day. So that call to the Sito distress call, the boat sinking. We've got dialogue in the background about how there's people are yelling, Nolan, wake up. Nolan, is he dead? What's happening? His phone was on that boat. It wasn't on the island. It returned.
And his mom said that when she went through his phone, all the things that should have been there were missing, like
deleted.
Snapchat deleted.
Texts.
All those things were deleted.
Yeah.
And she said that she knows her son. That never would have happened. I mean, nobody's really deleting, unless you're trying to hide something.
Yeah.
Nobody is deleting messages off their phone.
No way.
You know, anytime I see like the lone Black kid with a group of white friends, I get worried.
Especially in the South. I mean, in Mississippi.
Yeah. I mean, having been occasionally when I was younger, occasionally the only Black friend in a group of white people. Yeah. There have been things that have been said that I wish that when I had heard those things when I was 16, that I would have had the voice that I needed to be able to say something to those people. I'm always concerned about seeing one Black friend with a group of white friends. Now, obviously, most Black people who are friends with all white people don't die mysteriously, right? So I don't want to make it seem that way. But I feel like we need to tell Black and brown kids to just be careful, to be on alert.
No, we have to tell white kids to not be pieces of shit to their Black friends.
We do. But you can't control that, but you can control what you tell your kid.
Sure. Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
So you can control what you tell your kid. Right. You know, like there are things that I say to KP because she's my kid. Do you know what I mean?
It's also like the way that Black and brown people get treated by white kids is learned behavior. It's learned behavior from parents, from other adults in their life, from other kids. Yeah. So that's at least like what I see coming from white communities. I see people who have kids who treat other Black kids a certain way. And I'm like, I see where that came from. You know what I mean? Yep. There's so many racial dynamics going on in this case, right?
So many.
I mean, the notion that if there was an accident and those kids were, whatever the accident was, whether it was someone's fault, whether someone tripped and fell, whatever it was, or if there was malice, the fact that a group of teenagers thought it was okay.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know that somebody would, let's assume that this was an accident, right? I don't think that anybody who's involved in the accident would assume that it's okay. I think panic takes over and you do the first thing. You know, you're like, how am I going to hide this? Because I don't want to get caught up in, I'm going to get in so much trouble, right? If I don't do this. So it doesn't make it okay, obviously, but I think that, I think panic sets in. And what I think is really interesting is whenever there's like a terrible idea, no matter what the idea is, right? Oh, let's say this kid got hurt, he died. And if I say to you, if you and I are involved and I say to you, Michael, let's just leave it and just run away. Yeah. And I get you to agree with it. And then you tell CJ and CJ, the way that a bad idea
is infectious.
Absolutely.
Contagious.
It's so contagious.
Yeah,
and
especially when you're that age.
Especially when you're that age. And that fear, right? I'm going to get in trouble. Right. And this is huge trouble, right? And the thing is, a secret is no longer a secret if more than 2 people know about it. Right. And I don't know how many people are involved in this at this point. Yeah. It's going to collapse.
Yes. In my mind, it's bifurcated. It is what happened on the boat. Everyone who was there. Right. And then what happened after we found a body in the water, the district attorney's office, the investigators, the medical examiners, the person conducting the autopsy, the people who transported the body without the throat and the neck. In my mind, it's like a bunch of teenagers, but also government officials in Mississippi. What are they doing? Right? How has this been mishandled by them
from the inception, right?
July 6th, when the body was found, right? So,
and I mean, and where are these other kids? Who's talking to them?
Yeah.
What is happening? Right.
Where's the girl that he was allegedly on the island with?
Who is she?
Where's the search? Where's the manhunt for her?
Is she missing? Like what?
And as a defense attorney, I'm always, what's that behind you? Boom, hit in the head with fucking evidence of digital footprint evidence that is so damning that it totally screws up my defense. My entire case gets screwed up by the phone record, where is that in this case?
I think if they,
how come they didn't, where is that with the investigators in the DA's office?
If they don't find this, it is because they don't want to.
Yeah. Exactly.
Because I think that there are too many people. There is always a weak link, right?
And are these white affluent families in a small town? Is to say,
I mean, but no matter the group, there's always a weak link, right? I don't care if you're rich. I don't care if you're poor. There's a weak link someplace. Yeah. Find the weak link. Yeah. And push down on it. I wonder what's going to happen.
I'm really interested to watch because I think I'm really hoping that there will be accountability, that there will be some sort of.
I hope so.
We are in the throes of the investigation right now. And there's a lot of attention on this. So every little piece of information is getting highly scrutinized.
And, stories like this always bring up similar stories of other situations where there have been the lone Black or brown person in a group of white friends who sort of goes missing and it's always like there was an accident, but the cover up, the attempt at a cover up. Right. I don't know if you saw this, but there was this absolutely reprehensible person who posted a TikTok. I'll find it for you. And a white man who was just like, yeah, that's what we do. We know y'all can't swim and we take you guys out and that's what we do. And then there was another story. It was a woman and her family. It was a white woman and her family. Was kayaking. They were kayaking. Okay. And she came across this young African-American teenage boy whose friends had left him knowing that he couldn't swim. She could hear them, and you can hear it in the video, them in the background.
Thinking this is hilarious,
making monkey sounds.
Bro, I'll just find a way. Hey. Hi. Yeah, they think I'm about to fall back, but I can't swim. Bro, you have a life jacket. jacket. I'm gonna die.
I'm standing right
Hold
now.
on. Talk to this light. Hold on.
Handle right here if you want.
Really, really disgusting things. And that is the thing. I know that people move to certain parts of the country to better their lives, right? You want to give your kid the best opportunity. And sometimes that means that your kid is going to be in a predominantly white space.
Yeah.
You got to be careful. It's the only thing that I can say about it, because speaking from myself, who grew up in Queens in a very multicultural environment, but sometimes I was in a predominantly white space, and I can remember moments of being not in danger. I was never in danger, but moments of being uncomfortable.
You weren't in physical danger.
No, I wasn't in physical danger.
But psychological, emotional danger for sure.
I mean, these are things, and it's so interesting. These are things that every now and then just pop into my head. I just remember it. Yeah. Right. And I'm like, and I wish so badly that, but you can't. 16-year-old you is not 30 whatever year old you. You know what I mean?
And that hindsight is always 2020.
100%. 100%.
I just I keep coming back to this, like all those tropes that you just talked about, like swimming, monkey noises, like those are from before the turn of the 20th century. Like these are 100-year-old, 200-year-old racial tropes that kids in America are still perpetuating.
Yeah.
It's just like
they hear it somewhere.
Yeah, exactly.
Mom, dad.
Yeah,
Mima,
right. Exactly.
Pop.
Yeah.
Right?
I don't know. This notion that like those things are not powerful. It's like
they're very powerful. And I think that people, because it makes people uncomfortable, they don't want to talk about it. And, you know, and people who are of a certain ilk will say, this is wokeism. Right. This is, you want white kids to feel bad. No, we don't want black kids to feel bad.
Right.
And we want to educate everybody. These are the reasons why this is harmful. Because again, in the second video that I'm telling you about, with the woman with the kid, they thought it was hilarious.
Right. Hey, your mom? My mom's name. My dad's your mom is always worried about you.
Right. They thought it was hilarious, not really understanding, because they're kids, the impact of that. Yeah. What that is going to do to this young, because they're kids, right? So the things that I heard when I was 16, I don't think that the person who said those things and did those things ever thought that 40 years later that I would be thinking about it and talking about it.
Yeah. I think about I see these videos of teachers or principals who have the all are welcome sort of like shirt or sign in their office. And, you know, there are all sorts of conservative people who don't like that and attack the school and the teacher and whatever. But there is this one woman video where the woman's like, well, what is on your shirt? And she's like, you know what's on my shirt? We've talked about this. You know who I am. You've been in my office.
Oh, yeah. I saw that. She was a principal of the school.
Principal. She's like, you know exactly who I am. You don't have to ask my name.
Right.
We have already discussed this.
Right.
You know where my office is. If you
have a nice day, Mrs. Smith. Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
Keep it moving.
Basically
You're holding up the traffic.
Yes, she did say that.
Yeah,
she did.
But it does make me think about like those people who are the one person who is the safe person for you to come talk to in school. Everyone had I hope that all kids had that person.
And to the woman who was kayaking with her family, I left her a message on. She posted on Instagram. I was just like, she was like a mom. Thank you for your super mom gene, right? You are such a good example for your kids.
Are you okay? Are you okay? Are you okay?
Yeah.
Okay. I would never do that to them. You don't do that. I would never do that to anybody.
And I sent a message to the kid, and I was just like, you need to listen to your auntie and your internet auntie, Mélissa. And I'm telling you that these are not your friends. It's not funny. It's not, you were in danger.
It's better to have no friends. Yeah. Also, don't strive to be a good mom to your kids. Strive to be the mom that all the other kids come to with the problem. Be the safe mom for all the kids at the school.
I mean, I had never seen this woman's content before, but in that moment, what a good mom.
Yeah.
What a good mom.
There were, finding one mom like that at the school who was like
the good mom, the cool mom.
Yeah. 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 All right, let's take a break. We have a guest.
We do?
Yeah.
I'm really excited.
Yeah, we'll be right back. Welcome back to the pod. We are here with Alaina Bamfield. She's a Brooklyn-based stand-up comedian who just released her debut special, Untouchable, on YouTube. At age 13, Alaina was among the survivors of the USA gymnastics doctor, Larry Nassar.
She co-hosts the delightfully spooky bedtime pregame live stream with fellow comedian Abby Volman Monday nights at 8 p.m. Welcome to Brief Recess. Thanks for being here.
Thank you so much for having me.
So excited to have you. So we were just talking about Brooklyn and how Mélissa and I are going to ThriftCon.
With our friend Alyssa, who we talk about on the podcast all the time.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it is going to be chaos. You should totally come.
She's an agent of chaos.
What day is ThriftCon?
Saturday, August. Oh, yeah.
This
August.
Saturday.
This Saturday.
So this
by the
airs on
time-
Thursday. So on Saturday.
On Saturday.
Anyway, I'll text you the details.
Okay, perfect.
You don't have to tell the viewers if you're going or not.
But we're going to be there.
Yeah. But we love thrifting. Anyway, welcome to the show. Super excited to chat with you. You've got this incredible special right now. How's it going?
It's going really
How's the
well.
reception been? It's hysterical, by the way.
Thank you.
I love it. I've seen so many clips on TikTok too. They're all over my feed.
Thank you.
So everyone like and follow and comment. Engage with the posts.
Content, friends.
It's all content. That's all the game is now, is content. But no, it's been going really well. I can't be more happy with how it's gone, honestly. I mean, it's been almost 2 months and it's almost got 15,000 views, which is way more than I thought,
That's
I would have by now.
Yeah.
I guess it's just one of those things where I'm like, it's not monetized. I don't make anything off of it. So I just kind of feed off of people watching it and being like, hey, this was great.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I relate and it made me feel better,
I was gonna say,
thing.
Yeah.
What has been, I guess, what's the most common comment that you're getting?
The most common comment that I'm getting is like people being like, this is real, like dark humor, which also like, I think touches me in a way, I guess, just because I'm like, I loved like Rosebud Baker. I don't know if you guys are familiar with her work at all, but she had a special on YouTube called Whiskey Fists when I first started. And it was kind of about like her abusive ex that would drink and, try and hit her, but could never land a punch because he had whiskey fists or whatever.
Oh, God.
So but it's dark humor, right?
But dark humor, yeah. And so to be able, like my goal was, I guess, to talk about something horrible in a funny way and make other people laugh about it. So it's the biggest badge of honor I feel I'm getting is people being like, oh, this is actual dark comedy. It's not just like shocking and like offensive,
Right. And so for people at home who maybe haven't seen it yet, do you want to just give like a quick log line of what the special actually is and what it focuses on?
So it's a special called Untouchable. It's about getting molested. Trigger warning if you're watching. But it's essentially like 25 minutes of just set up punchline about, it's like, everything I could think of, I guess, for like what had gone on without being like graphic or offensive, you know, but like even making fun of like his name being, going by Dr. Larry instead of Dr. Lawrence or, whatever it is.
Okay.
But I feel like I cover everything from like how stupid this guy was to like how stupid other people can be kind of like towards sexual assault survivors. Like I have a section in the special where I'm talking about like kind of stupid questions that I've been asked before.
I saw that,
One of the jokes in the special is about how Larry Nassar got stabbed in prison. And everyone in my family, like all my friends and family, sent me a like screenshot of the article and they were like, hey, check it out. It's your guy. And then I'm like, this is really triggering, but I'm glad that it's bringing everyone together.
Oh my God. Building community around his stabbing.
Yes, exactly. But it's so funny because anytime there's any sort of Larry Nassar news, even after the special came out, people will still send it to me and be like, hey,
did you know?
Look at this. And I'm like, dude.
Oh my God.
I wonder.
A year ago.
Yeah.
I wonder what people are hoping your reaction, what are they anticipating your reaction will be?
I'm healed.
Yeah,
he was stabbed. I'm healed.
Yes,
like
exactly.
It's not
I really think that that's what they think. They think that I'm gonna like throw a party or something because my abuser was hurt, and I guess it bothers me just a little bit because I just am like, I don't know, this guy is horrible, but I don't want anyone to die. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, that's not really like my moral compass, I guess. You know
That's
what I mean?
interesting.
So it's like,
no, sometimes people sit in that guest chair and they say, we do want them to die.
Yeah,
so that is actually really interesting. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I don't know. There's this I have the whole stupid like Christian forgiveness thing inside of me still. You know what I mean? It's not stupid, but
it's your moral code, and that's how you live your life, and you're allowed to.
Thank you.
And nobody is allowed to. Here I am telling you, no one
don't let them take that from you.
But nobody is allowed to tell you or anybody how you should be feeling about a certain thing.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So like, if the idea of your abuser getting stabbed in prison does not bring you joy, that's okay. Like, that's, and if it did bring you joy, that would also be okay. You are entitled to feel how you feel about the thing.
Thank you. I agree with that too. Because it's also the thing where it's like, I mean, when he got stabbed, I wasn't sad. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like, I wasn't like, no, my poor buddy. Like,
it was just information.
I was just kind of like, oh, I hope he lives to be stabbed again, I guess. Like, I don't know,
right.
you know?
I wonder if people are just like, this person was such a heinous monster that they would like him to suffer as much as possible. So they're like, happy about it on your behalf, if that makes sense.
No, it does make sense. I'm never like offended, you know, when someone sends me a thing, but it is just a thing where I'm like, God, guys. Like,
what was your journey like with the trial, with everything that happened in court?
Okay, so the trial is actually like, it's like slightly traumatic for me, but not in the way of like, oh, I don't want to like relive it. More in the sense of I have like regrets about the trial a little bit. I at the time was working like part-time at a pet grooming like place in my small town, you know, just a lady that like cuts dog hair. But I was like the groomer's assistant, just giving dogs baths and expressing anal glands and all the fun stuff. And but she was like, I don't know if it was just because she had cancer at the time or what the deal was, but she was just like a very crotchety woman for a moment. You know what I mean? Where she was just very angry and she would like come in the morning. I remember I was going to ask for the time off to read my own victim impact statement in court, essentially. And like that morning, I like came in, I was like, hey, what's your name? How are you this morning? And she was like, oh, I'm fine. Tired of watching the news. You know, I turn on the news this morning. Every time I turn on the news, it's just all these little girls getting on the stand and seeing who can cry the hardest for the most money. And I was like,
oh my God.
I'm just going to let some court lady read that shit. Like, I can't.
Because you were like, I can't
ask you. I can't be like, hey, could I have Tuesday off? I'd like to go cry on the stand for money. Like, you know.
No.
So I didn't. I had like a really great lawyer who was a family friend. You know, he just took care of everything for me. And some lady from the court read my victim impact statement. That was kind of the first time I really felt like a comic because she was reading it and I was like, oh, well, and you're butchering it. Like, and I hadn't even done comedy yet, but like the victim impact statement, I felt like it was my first ever like roast battle sort of thing, you know, of just like my lawyer was like, hey, so, and I don't know what we're allowed to say on your show, but I'm just like, but he's just like, hey, you can't like say boner. And like neck game is like you can't say that in a court of law. So you need to like find some new words for this thing, you know? And so I made it court appropriate and sent it in and then some lady read it, but it was still supposed to be like kind of humorous
so this is before ChatGPT. You couldn't ask. Yeah. Now you can ask ChatGPT. Give me another word for boner.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Erection is what I went with. But,
oh, okay. Yeah. That's a good one.
I'm like,
I guess if you got to ask chat for, that's really that's my.
I don't know how everyone else feels, but I feel like erection is scarier than boner.
Get in the comments. I want you to let us know, do you prefer to say in court, erection or boner? And I want to know. Press 1 for erection.
Press 2 for boner.
Right into CJ.
Wait,
we had a gay porn star on the show.
Okay.
CJ was trying to research.
It was on my work laptop.
And I met him at a party, so I didn't know his like legal name. I only knew his Google his
and when you Google him,
it's
right there.
Yeah.
What he's known for is there. And so I just, at a party, CJ, this guy's coming on the show. I didn't warn him.
Yeah.
And this poor man.
Just trying to do his job.
Sitting on the couch with my wife, Googling gay
Sitting on the
porn.
couch with his wife. She's like, oh my God. Anyway, okay.
Investigating a gay porn star with your pregnant wife is amazing.
Okay, so that was your trial experience. You watched the trial. What was sort of the...
It was a little weird. It was hard. I feel like I watched just specifically my part on YouTube. I had to work the day of it, obviously, because I didn't ask for it off. So didn't watch it like on the news or anything. But my lawyer did send me the like live stream that they had posted with like my timestamp or whatever. So I was able to watch it. And then I had a couple other friends that were there to read theirs in person. So I watched theirs too. But yeah, that was essentially my trial experience. So I guess I felt a little... Like, I mean, I'm just regretful that I didn't ask for it off and read it myself. And you know what I mean? Like, stand, you know what I mean, in front of him and say it. But I mean, I can't do anything now.
Right.
Other than, I guess, put out a comedy special.
I mean, I think what you're doing now is, I mean, not better or worse, but like, this is how you're handling it.
Yes.
Right. And also, and I think that this, because it's on YouTube, will have a greater reach.
That's what I'm hoping.
Do you know what I mean?
That's like partially why we just, like me and Sam Talent decided like not to monetize it. Because we just wanted as many views as possible. And, you know, because I mean, and I know it's not for everybody. You know what I mean? What I've made isn't for everybody. It's not going to be for every survivor. Everyone handles everything differently. But I hope that it helps people. I don't know. My favorite comment I ever got is someone being like, hey, I had a similar experience with my volleyball coach when I was 13. This is really great. I hope I find something that like pulls me out from underneath it the way you found something, you know? And I just like kind of like, I don't know if I was PMSing or what, but I just like broke down and cried because it's sad. You know what I mean? I like, I really do feel lucky that I have something, an outlet, and you know what I mean? Something to get it out of me, because so many people just sit silently like with it. And it's
well, I was going to ask you about like the healing journey, right? Because like so many people go through what you went through. Not everyone there's not always a high profile trial. There's not only like, you're hilarious beyond just that subject matter of your set, right? Like you are a stand-up comic, like on all subjects, right? Not just your assault.
Absolutely.
So it's sort of like, what has your healing journey been like? What has your career been like with this, you know, with you, right? And how have you been sort of navigating that?
I feel like it's obviously I'm not healed. I don't think, you know, no one that makes a 30-minute comedy special about getting molested is fully okay. But I guess it's been a lot of therapy. I started going to therapy for the first time in my life after the news broke. I also wasn't like, it's not like I got abused under the guise of medical treatment at 13 and then I mean, I guess I did sit with it subconsciously, but I had friends that were seeing him, right? I was referred, you know, to his office. And it's kind of a thing where it's like I went and told my friend what happened and she was like, oh, for sure. Like, you know, that's what happens with me too. Don't worry about it. Like, he's a doctor, whatever. And then you also have like sort of this illusion of he's the best because he was the Olympic team doctor. And, you know,
you don't
all
question
of these.
authority.
Yeah, you don't question it, especially back then, you know what I mean? It's like kind of, I guess Jerry Sandusky had broke maybe by that point, but no one really, you know, questioned their doctor like that, the way that they do now. And so for me, I feel like I found out with everybody else. I saw just an article. I think my mom even maybe had sent it to me and I was like, oh my God, that's what happened to me. And my mom was like immediately called me and she was like, what are you talking about?
I was going to ask you, so your folks didn't know?
No, they didn't know. I didn't say anything about it. I'd never been like,
it seems like
hey,
you didn't totally understand what it was.
I think I was better off before I found out. Frankly, I was just like, that's what happened at the doctor. You know what I mean? Like, it's just the doctor or whatever. It was clinical until it was not, you know, or at least that's how it like felt in my mind. And so I feel like I struggled, but looking back on it, I was like, drinking and smoking weed and sneaking out and doing acid at school. And like, so it was obviously affecting me. And I just didn't
you didn't realize,
we just said
what it
in
was.
the segment before you got here, hindsight is 20/20 on everything.
Absolutely.
Right? Yeah.
And so I'm like, oh, I was totally doing that because of that for sure.
Yeah.
But I felt like 19 is kind of where it started, like it hit me like a ton of brick. Like finding out I got molested is how it felt. You know, like I was like, oh,
is that how
I
old
feel
you were?
dumb.
Is that how
like that I didn't know,
right.
you know?
Is
like,
that how old you were when the news came out? You were 19?
Yes, I was 19. I think I was like freshly 19 when the news came out. And yeah, so then I just started dealing with it from there, and going through the court process was like one of the first times I had gone to therapy at all, because there's like a whole damages portion where it's kind of like, how many days of work did you miss because you were depressed about this, or, you know.
Right.
So then it was a weird thing where I kind of felt like therapy, it felt more like we were putting a price tag on what was wrong with me. And it was less therapeutic and way more just like, okay, we got to figure this out so we can get this all in here. And like, I can just
it's
say
a calculation.
like, like definitively you are fucked up. And you're like, okay.
Right.
Like,
right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it wasn't really like healing therapeutic journey.
No.
It was definitely like court mandated.
Yes.
Right. And it sounds very much like a way of, how do we put a dollar amount?
And it sucks, but you have to, you know?
No,
Yeah.
I know. And it's just it's so awful that that's the way that it is.
Yeah.
But that's the way that it is, right?
Is.
So that sort of this idea though of like, thing A happened, so she gets this amount of money.
Yes.
Had B, C, and D happen, she would get this other money. Or had it happened, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that is...
It is crazy. And that is kind of exactly how it is. And after the fact, I don't know about other girls. I don't know about anyone else's case, but I just know that I'm not supposed to say, because if they're still settling things, they could use it as leverage by being like, oh, Alaina Bamfield was molested X amount of times.
Okay.
And she received X amount of money. But my client was molested twice that amount and she's receiving less, you know? Yep. And so it's this whole very weird thing that I didn't think about.
That is reprehensible.
Yeah.
I mean, I just think, you know, Michael and I talk about this a lot, just sort of the way that we treat women, the way that we don't believe girls, the way that it sort of comes down to dollars and cents. And, you know, people love to say, well, you know, the children are the future, like stupid shit like that. Yeah. But then this is how we're behaving.
Yeah.
Right. It's also like how much we see, like the Epstein Files comes up a lot in this studio. How much society hates women. Yeah. Women hate women. Yeah. Men hate women. How much society hates women. How many times I'm at the gay club and people are like, why is there a woman here? And I'm like, I thought this was a space for everybody. Why are you being such a bitch about it? Like, it's like crazy.
It is like, crazy.
Why do we have to be so mean to women? And
then it reminds me of, because around the same time that this was all happening, the Me Too movement was 2016?
Yes.
And I think that's right around, was I 19 in 2016? It's right around the same time. But there was this whole video going around about like, how much is a little girl worth? Yes. You know? And like, oh
my God.
And I just think, and back to like kind of what you guys were saying just about like hating women, this joke didn't really make it in the special. I guess it's not really, because it wasn't really a joke. It was just more of a statement, you know? Yeah. Because people are kind of like, always think I'm like rich or whatever. Because like they always want to know like how much money I got for getting molested. And I'm like, how much do you think that the American justice system values women and children? You know what I mean? Like that's crazy.
I think it did make it into the special.
Oh, did it? Okay. Well, the second part I think is where I was like, there was a lady there like arguing against my lawyer to make sure that I didn't get too much money. Right. You know, like, and it's, I mean, that's has to be someone's job. It's not her fault specifically, you know what I mean? Like,
but
we all have
it
choices.
Just is crazy that that's where it's at. You know?
A high profile case like that.
Yeah.
She had a choice.
Yeah.
She had a choice.
She was like,
she was not assigned that case.
Yeah.
This is my launching pad, she said.
You always have a choice.
Yeah.
As Meryl says.
We can cut this out if you don't want to answer the question, right?
Absolutely.
I was talking to CJ and I was wondering about this when I knew that you were coming. Do you remember when you met him?
Yes.
And do you remember what your first impression of him was?
I remember it. I was 13 when I first met him, and it was And I can almost like remember, it's like a weird distant memory where I'm like, I can see the building in my head and I can like count the windows and tell you like which corner one, like 2 down all the way over it was. And I can remember like seeing like the trim in the room and like talking to him. All I remember is he made my mom laugh a lot. Like he was just very charming and charismatic, which you have to be if you're going to be a predator, I guess.
Sure.
You know?
So that people think that you're safe.
Yes. And I remember
Larry's a nice guy.
Larry's a nice guy.
Right.
And I remember him calling me a butthead was a big thing that I remember because I was like, oh, my like neck is really hurting. And I was like expecting, especially at this time when I'm running around doing like physical therapy, I thought physical therapy was going to be someone like giving me a massage and making me feel better, but it's like actually hard work that makes your body hurt.
Yeah, it hurts a lot.
And so I was like coming from that and I'm like, my neck hurts. And he's like, oh, okay, put on these paper shorts and change into this gown, essentially. But I remember he told me and my mom that I was a butthead. He did not say that he was going to enter my body in any way. You know what I mean? But essentially it was just like, oh, the problem's up by your head, but we're going to fix it down by your butt. Essentially. My mom's like, oh, maybe I'm a butthead. And that's why my, you know, neck hurts as well. Like, you know what I mean? Just a woman being like, okay, that sounds good. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
that sounds plausible.
Sounds plausible. I don't know. You know? Why would she know? But that, I think the first time I met him, I remember him calling me a butthead. And being in that corner office. And he recommended, I was wanting to go into all-star cheerleading and I wanted to go to Michigan Extreme. It's just a gym that was one of the gyms in Michigan. And he was like, why would you go there when you could go here to like Capital City Cheer? And he pulled up their website on Facebook, showed me and my mom like their like facility and stuff. And I ended up cheerleading at that gym for like 4 or 5 years because of that suggestion, essentially, which I mean, it was some of the best 4 or 5 years of my life, you know, but yeah, that's what I remember from first meeting him is he recommended my cheerleading gym and like my lifelong friends that I now have, which is super weird.
Yeah. Cause I think, when we imagine what a sexual predator looks like, you put an image in your head, right? Like it's like this creepy, sort of like weird,
it's
like
the guy from like the Norton security ad.
You know what I mean? Or like, or you know, and we're all guilty of this. Sometimes you'll see the image of somebody, be like, I would have known it in a second. Look at his face.
Yeah, look at his face.
Look at those beady eyes. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, look, like he's giving off. But I think, but what we have since learned, right, is that sure, it could be the creepy person who's weird in the corner, but it could also, it's your priest, it's your rabbi, it's your
usually
doctor.
someone you know.
It's someone you know who, when you find out, oh my God, I can't believe that it's so-and-so.
Yeah.
He seems like such a good guy.
Yeah. It's great. And I mean, that was the general consensus of Larry Nassar before the news like broke, you know, was that this was a good guy and you could take your kids to him. I mean, he was involved in other things. I'm pretty positive, allegedly, I'm pretty positive that he was involved in like the whole public schools, like nursing program, like not nursing program, but sort of like their athletic doctor, if that makes any sense for a high school in the area. He had an office at Michigan State University sports athletic, you know, thing. So he just had like he had his fingers spread, you know what I mean? The web was wide.
Right. This is not your job to educate me on this, but let me ask you, do you know if he did this to other children in the other parts of his work, or did he focus solely on the gymnast?
I think that he just was an opportunist, I think. I have said since the beginning, like one of the reasons I decided also to like file, because at first, you know, it was my friend had seen him so much more than me. Her mom would like drop her off at his house to like get like her back adjusted in his basement and shit. And I just was like, oh, I'm not a basement case. My mom took me, like I legitimately in the beginning was like, oh, it only happened to me like 3 or 4 times, you know, like maybe I don't, you know, like deserve to like say anything about it, which is obviously bullshit. Hindsight is 20/20, you know? But at first I was like a little bit hesitant because I just like, I guess, and I have learned now this is like a common feeling amongst survivors of a lot of things, but just like, I didn't feel like I had it bad enough, you know?
I think it becomes almost like the oppression Olympics, right?
Yeah.
Like who who is worse off? Well, I'm not like this person, so I should feel lucky.
I should feel lucky and I should feel good. Yes,
Right.
exactly. And but also through, because like I've had other things happen, and this was the only one where, you know, like 400 or 500 people are behind me being like, and yes, it did. You know, like me too, us too, whatever.
Right. There's
you know,
so many times
So
where
it's-
there's like a dubious gray
exactly.
area.
So even though it was super hard, it was the easiest sexual assault I've ever had to report, like because of that backing,
Because
you know,
everyone
like,
was throwing their weight behind you.
yeah.
I was going to say, is there like a community of support now among survivors? Like, or do you keep in touch
I'm
with
sure
people, or-
there is.
Yeah.
I'm not a part of it. I feel, I don't know. I feel it, like some people start organizations and nonprofits and like that's fucking great and like that's just you know what I mean, like I can't like sit in that space of, you know what I mean, like it feels clinical itself being at a nonprofit or whatever it is.
Sure,
like I'm just
it does.
like
Yeah.
But you know, so I mean, that doesn't have to be your space. The stage is your space.
Exactly. And
Right?
so I'm like, so I can do this and that's something different.
And the
but
people
hopefully
who
still
sit in the
helpful.
nonprofit space can't do what you do.
Yeah. When going into making the special, one of the big things for me is that I was like, well, I anticipate it doing decently well just because Sam Talent, amazing comedian and headliner that I go on the road with. He was like already going to put it out on his YouTube and it's got like 35,000 subscribers or something. So I knew that people were going to see it when I put it out like on his page. So I really like kind of was like, oh, well, people might see it and I might get something. Like there might be some momentum from it. You know, I might get like bookings and things that I really want to do. And I don't want to run around doing this material the whole time.
Right.
And it's only like 30 minutes anyways. I'm not going to write another 30 minutes so that I have an hour. Like what if someone wants me to tour, damn it? And I have no. So
we can't do the like Larry Nassar Survivor tour.
yeah,
right?
no, it'd just be
You've
too
got so
much. Untouchable tour.
What's your other material about? Like what do you sort of focus on?
My 30 minutes now is like pretty much exclusively like about my family and growing up and
Why? What happened growing up?
nothing. Well, I got molested, but no, I'm just kidding. But my dad.
This is so that is
I'm
so.
dead. That was also such a stupid fucking question for me to ask.
But this is like, I don't know if you listen, but like that's the kind of thing where I get uncomfortable and I fake sneeze, but I put it out there and now I can't do it, and now I need another thing.
No.
But
wait, what about your dad?
My dad grew medical marijuana like legally in our home.
Love that.
I was going to say allegedly.
Yeah, no, it was like fully like Michigan, I think legalized it in 2008.
Oh my God.
And so we were one of the first states, I think. We were maybe the first state after California to legalize marijuana, like or not recreational, medical marijuana. And so my dad did that, and so I was kind of like a stinky kid. Like I smelled like weed, and that was hard.
I'm dead.
And so I feel like I've been working on jokes about that. He doesn't love it, but it's. I mean,
it's okay.
But it's something you did. And it was legal,
like
and it is legal. Yeah,
like everything else that's happened in your life, it happened.
No, exactly.
Yeah, right.
And so but it was just that was a little bit difficult. I just grew up in a very small rural town. Me and my brother were latchkey kids for a long time, so I have a lot of jokes about like how would be the worst in a Stanford prison experiment because like of the things I did to my brother. I had 2 dogs for a long time, and then one of them, she just kicked it in December. So I've been working on a lot of dead dog
R.I.P.
stuff. It's all pretty dark. It will continue to be dark, I think. But I don't know. So but it was important to me that I had an hour before I recorded the special that wasn't about that at all.
Yeah.
So that I could prove to myself and others that
what's your
have
relationship advice? You said you've been through a lot of breakups.
Oh God, don't do them.
Stay single, guys. You heard it here first.
No, I keep getting cheated on, and I'm like, would you just steal from me or something more exciting? You know, like
how do you feel about
something
Boston?
else, please?
I had a friend, she went out with the doctor and stole his prescription pad.
Oh, that's kind of fucking slick. I like that.
It was back in the day. I don't even think they have pads anymore. This was a while ago.
They don't have pads anymore?
Yeah.
It's electronic.
It's all like they phone it in.
Mm-hmm.
Lame.
Lame. Sent on the
Opportunity
computer.
missed.
Yeah.
Yes, okay. Anything else we missed? CJ? Anyone else before we like button out?
How did your dad get into farming medical marijuana? Was he like
yeah.
I don't know. Did
CJ's
he use
not
it?
looking to get into it at all. He just wants to know for research purposes.
I don't really know exactly what happened. I know that our next door neighbor, I knew that he must have been thinking about it for a long time. And we had the weirdest situation. We had a rental house in the country as our neighbor. So every year we'd get like a new family that would move in.
Dads love talking to the next door neighbor.
Oh yeah, not my dad. My dad was like, "Don't fucking come over here." Like
he's like, "We're gonna live in the middle of nowhere. I want there to be a rental next door who I don't talk to."
Yeah, exactly.
That is crazy.
It was a family for the longest time, and then they got a divorce, and the dad moved to Florida, and then kept the house and rented it out and it's still a rental house to this day.
Oh wow.
But the family
like a seasonal rental?
No, like a
people just live there.
Just live there.
Okay,
yeah,
okay,
yeah.
okay.
No, it's like a regular shit house, just like like next to my parents' ranch style home. Which and also I don't know if do you guys know what a ranch style home is?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Like it's like a trailer with a roof and in a basement, but anyways, they started. One of the families that lived there for the longest time, I'm actually the godmother of her child that she had when she was a teenager.
Okay.
Shout out.
Yeah.
And,
oh my God, yeah.
But they moved in and we just started smelling it. We just started smelling it. And the story from my mom is that they were standing like looking out the kitchen window and my dad was just like fucking arms crossed looking at the neighbor's house. And some of my dad's friends had also started to grow weed indoors. And my mom was like, just do it. I don't need to complain about it. Just do it. And so he went out and got his license and then we weren't allowed in the basement anymore. So I thought we got a tanning bed.
All right. So thank you for joining us. Where can people catch you? Where can they watch the special? Let them know at home.
Are you on tour or anything?
I'm not on tour currently, but if you guys follow me, I can be.
Okay.
Follow me on Instagram so that all of the clubs in Manhattan will let me come now. If anyone watching is in Brooklyn, I have a free weekly show every Tuesday at 8:00 at Artichoke Pizza off the Jefferson L stop on Wyckoff Avenue.
I've been drunk at that Artichoke Pizza.
Have you?
Yes.
It's a good place to be drunk.
Most Artichoke pizzas I've been drunk.
Yeah.
I mean, so people aren't eating at Artichoke Pizza.
Dude, it's pretty heavy. Bring a Lactaid to my show.
Yes.
But I do that every single Tuesday. Me and my friend Abby do live stream on Mondays. We won't be doing it this week. We'll be back next week. Watch my special on YouTube. It's called Untouchable. And my Instagram is at Alaina Bamfield.
Thank you
we're really
so
happy
much.
you came. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for joining us. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Brief Recess. This is Till from the DMs, where we answer, honestly, just Swedish Latina's messages because she's writing in every week and
Swedish
I love
Latina, do you want to be on? Can we just have you on?
She's got the best comments.
Well, friends, what do I always say? While Michael is a lawyer, he's not your lawyer, so get your own. Swedish Latina. Okay. Wait, I'm going to read this because she's so funny. Okay. Stop right there. I was born with one hand and I always get 50% off of manicures. Like, I don't even need to ask. Sergio, you messy bitch.
Wait, what? Swedish Latina?
Do you really Swedish Latina?
She's been writing in every week with one hand. I love it. Oh my God.
Oh my God, I didn't even think of that.
Oh, no, that's not what I meant. Oh no. Oh, no, that's not what I meant. No. They're going to be calling me an ableist who hates Boston. That's not what I meant.
I got called an ableist this week. Anyway.
I got called an ableist.
I did.
Because of the picky eater thing? Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay, Taylor Swift wedding backlash. Disabled Danny wrote in a wedding venue that is secretly.
He's another one who's always in the comments. Hey, Disabled Danny and Swedish Latina carrying the show, friends.
Shout out, Disabled Danny.
Shout out.
A wedding venue that is secretly operated by the mob is the most NYC thing I've ever heard.
I'm telling you, I'm convinced that it was.
You know what? I don't want to know.
Me neither.
Listen, I'm looking at. I've got enough people on me. Mélissa, please share the green seasoning recipe.
I promise next episode I will.
Oh, someone wants the, I do too.
I'll make you some.
Yeah, you also said you would.
Okay, Michael.
I'm sorry.
Some of us are busy.
I can't. Yes, you're right. You're right. It's not your responsibility to educate the white man on how to season
how to wash his chicken.
How to wash my chicken. Okay. I feel like I haven't answered anyone's legal questions lately because we've been talking about a one-armed woman getting a manicure for 3 episodes. So let's see. Is there any question?
Are there any questions?
It's just everyone writing in about the hand.
It was like, and also people want me to have a cocktail every podcast. I will not. My husband had to pick me up, guys.
Okay.
And CJ looked very worried for me. CJ looked so concerned. He was like, Are you sure Andre's coming to get you? And I'm like, yeah, he's coming. Are you sure? Yes.
Left your ass.
And then he's like walking away slow and he's like, get home safe, Mélissa.
Okay, Mélissa and Michael, so many things I want to say. I don't know who wrote this in. We don't have a name. But first off, Michael, screw you for hating Colorado people. I don't hate Colorado people. Oh, man.
This is Jenny.
This is Jenny. Okay.
Hey, Jenny.
About the Denver airport, you said that no one goes to Denver, but DIA is actually one of the busiest airports in the world.
Okay.
Have you read all the weird conspiracy stuff around the Denver airport? CJ was telling me about this. Okay, next episode when we start, I'm going to talk about, I want to research all the Denver airport conspiracy theories because people are saying it's run by the Illuminati. And honestly, it doesn't make sense why the shuttle does that. So it might actually be the Illuminati. I'm gonna put on my tinfoil hat for that one. And I'm going to get, this is a deep dive that I have to do at 3 a.m. after a gummy. So I'm going to do the research. I do the hard work so you don't have to. And I'm going to get back to you on the Denver airport.
Please do. We're riveted. There is a DM question.
Oh.
Okay. So Kate Mulligan says, hi, friends who don't know me, but I love everything about the both of you. Thanks, Kate. Do you have any information about habeas documents?
Oh, like habeas. Okay, so
she just signed up to volunteer in SoCal, hoping it's legit because it gives me tangible to do and to be of service.
So I think what she's probably asking about is habeas corpus claims in federal court. Mm-hmm. So basically what's happening right now is because the bond rules that the Trump administration and ICE are imposing on immigrants in America are so strict that what's happening is many attorneys are taking the case from immigration court and filing a separate hearing for a habeas petition saying that this person is being wrongfully detained for extended periods of time and therefore should be granted a habeas petition because their like basic human rights are being denied in immigration court.
Sorry.
And so they get that decision from the federal court. That's the circuit of wherever you are. This person's in California. And then you would take that decision back to immigration court and be like, look, the federal circuit is granting relief. You need to grant them bond because the bond rules are so strict.
Okay. Can you explain what habeas corpus is?
So a habeas petition is just like it's a formal way to make people who are jailing you produce the prisoner and say why they're holding them.
Okay.
So it's a mechanism that way.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks.
So it's a form of accountability, but you can volunteer. So this is another cool way that volunteers and people who work at nonprofits can help people who are detained because a lot of the times when I go to court for a bond hearing, they're like, we won't even hear it because of these rules. I don't even get a chance to litigate it sometimes.
Okay.
So then people like Kate, who wrote in, are working for a nonprofit. Then they go to a different court with it.
Okay.
So we're trying to like glue it together, sort of, is how that's working.
Okay.
Anyway. Thank you for watching this episode, everyone. This is Brief Recess. I'm Michael Foote.
I'm Melissa Malebranche.
I'll see you in court.
Not me.